Stephen Pressfield, one of my favorite little books ever. It is fantastic when it comes to understanding your craft and showing up. It's hard to give this book justice, even though it's 130 pages. It's tiny, as you can tell. It's well worn. I love this book. I love you, Steve. Hope you're doing wonderful. It is basically about this. When it comes to the work that we're supposed to be doing in our life, our proverbial hero's journey that Joseph Campbell talked about way back in the day, when it comes to that journey, it's natural to be afraid. That fear, he calls it, Stephen Pressfield calls the resistance, capital T, capital R, resistance. In that resistance, we show up in a certain way. We're ready to put pen to pad, to start using a typewriter if you're old school like me, to start working on the manuscript, to ask that person on a date and do something amazing and creative with them. Who knows? Whatever that spark is that you know that hero's journey you're being called to do. And the resistance says, "Eh, how about you do a little bit more studying? How about you go back to school and get that PhD? Because what you're saying doesn't quite fit. How about you sit down just a little bit longer? Because if you say this to this person, you're going to look like a fool. What makes you think that what you have to say matters any more than any other fool? If that's the case, then why don't you just keep your mouth shut? That is the resistance. I hear that sometimes, a lot less than I used to, but I hear that sometimes. You probably know those voices too. And it could literally be someone else, but often, as Steve talks about, it's in your head. Lovely passages in here. And it's a book that, listen, I can go ahead and read it. And I could have read it when I first got it. I could have read it in the afternoon. Instead, I took my time on it because I know it was so freaking good, so ridiculously good. Fantastic, fantastic book. Here's one of my favorite passages. A professional accepts no excuses. The amateur, underestimating resistance cunning, permits the flu to keep him from his chapters. He believes the serpent's voice in his head that says mailing off that manuscript is more important than doing the day's work. The professional has learned better. He respects resistance. He knows if he caves in today, no matter how plausible the pretext, he'll be twice as likely to cave in tomorrow. The professional knows that resistance is like a telemarketer. No offense to my telemarketers. If you so much as say hello, you're finished. The pro doesn't even pick up the phone. He stays at work. It's about showing up for your work. That's just one page again, similar to Pema Chodron's work. Shout out to her. It took me 30 seconds to a minute to read that passage. It's chocked with those. This is really the book that you want to grab if you feel stuck. Not stuck in the way of I'm not sure what to do next. Stuck in the way of I know what I need to do next. I know whom I want to serve or how I want to show up. I'm just not doing it. This goes under those layers. I discovered this book early in my coaching career. It really helped inform the coaching that I do. Excuse me. Because a lot of y'all that I work with are, again, the non traditional entrepreneurs, the side hustlers, the solopreneurs. And for me, that falls into the creativity box. We're making something out of nothing, as I talk about in the book, Bring Your Worth. Our job is to make something out of nothing, whether it's an app that's become a daily habit for us today that someone created from scratch. It's a book that literally was in someone's brain, 2, 3 decades ago, and now it's informing myself and hopefully informing you after you grab the book. Now that you know about it, it's showing up every day, and you and perhaps some people that you're kin with, as kin as far as having a similar view, understanding your vision, and nobody else in the world does. But that friction in itself makes it worthwhile to have that vision. What's that one thing that only you were meant to do? From my second app, Cuddler, which came number one app in the world back in 2014, and I'm getting acquired in 2015, to me doing this show with y'all. That's the reason why I keep showing up. I am uniquely made, designed, just like you are, to do certain things in this life. Me having this show is one of those things. Me doing one of my 27 books is one of those things. Me coaching you is one of those things. Because those unique life experiences brought me here to you at this very moment. This is a great reminder of that. And this is his most famous book. This is probably my favorite book of his, but he has some other bangers that are fantastic that are over on my shelf. Talk about prolific. Grab one. I'd start with this one though. It's a great place to start. And I think it's so good, you know? My experience says breakthroughs happen while going through the resistance, not over, under, or around. That's it. Thank you. That's exactly it. And so that ends up being the friction of it. As Ryan Halliday says, the obstacle is the way. Like there's patterns here, even as far as from children. you know, these come to almost like a creative spiritual practice where the friction is where we need to heal, and things that are not revealed cannot be healed, as someone once said. So it really has to do with your fear of showing up as yourself, perhaps because you're afraid you'll be rejected. That's real. And again, the complete Bring Your Worth is my 27th book. So, you know, I know that journey. So hats off to you, salute to you. And if you're watching this show, I'm glad you're in the arena. If you're deep digging Steve's work, again, the links are all below. A good companion to this to watch is, if you want consistency, watch this now. It's a live show I did, I think, last summer, and it was about how to be consistent and how to show up regularly. Notice it's not how to show up perfectly. It's not how to be the best at whatever. It's like, no, just consistency, right? I think this is my probably 150th live show out of the 400 episodes. I have some recorded shows as well. You know, I'm I still feel rough around the edges. I still got issues. I still feel kind of out of sorts. But the reason why I'm able to show up even as strongly as I am now, there's room for improvement. But if you go back to my live shows, they're all at bringingworth.tv. You can look at them. That evolution happens because of consistency. Practice, yes. Getting good mentorship, yes. But showing up regularly for y'all on Wednesdays, sometimes that's enough. And if you're really focused on quote unquote winning, which I don't like that term, but if you're focused on winning, the best way you can win is actually showing up consistently, because most people do not have the discipline to show up consistently. Mainly, I would argue, because their fears or their issues, their trauma holds them back. You have the opportunity to not be one of those people. How are you showing up consistently? Are there particular books that have helped you show up consistently? And is there a place that you're stuck that you think the world of art might be able to help you with? Drop a line in the comments. Love to hear it. I love book recommendations. This is a fraction of the books that I have. You could barely see it, but I have so many books in my house. I love more recommendations. Drop them in the comments. Let me know if you have a favorite author that's helped you with consistency. I'm Damon Brown. This is Bring Your Worth TV. I'm an entrepreneurial coach, and I catch up with you live Wednesdays at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You can subscribe on any of the platforms for free: Twitch, YouTube, pick a platform, any platform. But I'd love to hear your comments below.